Hi there, comic book friends. Time for a little special thing. This is my entry into Sarah Smash's contest. Her actual YouTube channel is Sarah, I want to say it's Sarah Smash, or is it Sarah Puppy Mom 08? Sarah Smash Puppy Mom 08? Guess I should have looked that up. Hopefully I'll have it in the link down below, so you can go and check her out. If you aren't subscribed to her, you should be. She's has this awesome wall now. She has this comic book room with a wall of comics. Looks like if you walked into a really awesome comic book store, basically. That's what her room looks like. Pretty jealous of that. Anyway, this is my entry into her contest. Her question was, she wanted to know about a comic that that emotionally means something to you, why it does, or what got you into comics, or that sort of thing. And I've got a lot of years of reading comics, so there are comics that tie into things in my life in one way or another. I can't say that there's any real significant thing about the first books I bought, or the first books that I kind of owned, and what those mean to me so much. But one of the ones I'm going to pick here is I'm going to talk about Infinity Inc. issue #1. This comic in particular came out in 1984. That's not when it meant something to me. I picked it up then as it was coming out. I could talk about the fact that I think this is probably the first comic book that I picked up as #1 as it was coming out, and actually collected clear up till its actual very final issue. So I guess that's a cool thing. But really, what's important to me about this book is this is the first comic book that I read to my son, Ethan. Anybody who watches my channel, I would assume you know who Ethan is now, by now, because he's like my counterpart in a lot of the Monster Comics reviews. I've been reading comic books with Ethan since, well, 2004. So we're coming up on, actually before that, I take it back, probably 2003 or so. Ethan was probably 4 or 5 when we started reading comic books together. We had watched the Justice League Unlimited TV show that was out at the time, and was pretty much really big into comic books. So I've been reading comic books with Ethan for about 10 years now. So Ethan probably has a wider breadth of comic book knowledge and reading than a lot of people who are twice his age. So anyway, but this is the book. This is the book I started reading to Ethan, the first book I started reading to Ethan. Why this book? The reason I picked this book was because it had new heroes in it. All these people basically were virtually unknown characters at the time that this book was created. I mean, some of them aren't. The Star Spangled Kid's in there. He was a known entity before this. Briefly, the Huntress is in this, of Earth 2. These are all Earth 2 characters. Was somewhat known, but the main of these group were kids. They were young adults. I don't know if I should call them kids, but they were young adults, and they were totally brand new. So I knew Ethan didn't really have to know anything about anything about these characters. We could read this, and he would have less questions as far as continuity type stuff goes. And any questions he had about continuity kind of would be answered within the book itself. When old villains showed up and whatnot, it would be answered. So that's why I read this book to him. And why does it mean so much? Because it means a lot to me that Ethan takes the time not only to enjoy something that I enjoy so much, but that he is willing to take his time as a teenager who is a very busy kid with lots of school activities and lots of stuff just going on in his own personal life, that he still takes the time to make sure that generally he has books read and is willing to sit around and talk comic books with me. Just talking comic books with me, to me, that is a huge, big deal. I love that very much, and it means a lot to me. And it means even more to me that he is also then willing to take time out of his day to sit down or go on vacation or whatever we choose to do, and talk comics on camera with me, to share with all of you guys and whatnot. That means a lot. And so that's why this comic is probably going to mean more to me now than it did even when I was first collecting it and own it. Just the fact is that for me now, when I pull this comic out, when I pull Infinity Inc. out, I will have lots of fond memories of reading those first books to Ethan. And he couldn't read at the time. Not really. He could read some, but not really. And so I read them to him. We'd sit down and I'd flip the pages and we'd read along. And I'm sure I read comic books to him for way longer than what I needed to. I mean, I'm sure he was well skilled at reading enough to have read the comics himself and pretty much understand what was going on well before I quit reading the books to him. He doesn't seem to care. So that's great. So that's my entry into the contest is as far as a book that means something to me, and that's why Infinity Inc. Because it's the first comic books I read with Ethan, and it has fostered a love and an interest that both of us have going into his teenage years. When I know sometimes parenting and getting along with your parents and having anything remotely in common with your parents can sometimes be a struggle when your old man is uncool, right? So, anyway, yeah, that's it. I hope those of you who are subscribed to my channel that don't know Sarah Smash, that you jump on her channel, check it out, see what she has to say, and what she's gone on in her world of comics. Anyway, have a great day, everybody.